Hey guys, let's dig into Judaism a little bit more. So the history of the Jewish people goes back about 4,000 years when they were a nomadic people known as the Hebrews living in the region now called the Middle East. Judaism begins with the story of Abraham. Abraham was born in Mesopotamia. He worshipped many gods and goddesses and prayed to wooden and clay images of those gods, like the people around him. Later, Abraham began to believe it was wrong to worship in front of idols. He did not believe the true God could be represented by a statue. Gradually, Abraham began to deeply believe that the only one true God who should be respected and obeyed above all others. The belief in one and only one God is called monotheism. Mono is a Greek root word for one, so anytime you see the word mono, you can think one. And theo we learned earlier this year, and it means religion or God. So monotheism is one God. According to Jewish belief, Abraham and his wife Sarah had been unable to have children for many years. However, because of his faith, God told Abraham not to worry. Abraham would have as many descendants as there are stars in the skies. Eventually, Abraham had a grandson named Jacob. Jacob was also called Israel, which means one who struggles with God. This is why the Hebrew people were known as the Israelites. Today, they are known as the Jews. Jewish history tells of a covenant or an agreement or promise between Abraham and God. If the Hebrews followed God's laws, they would be rewarded for their faith and obedience. They were promised a land where they could live in peace and freedom. This promised land is the land where Israel stands today. Around 1650 BCE, famine drove the Israelites from the promised land to Egypt in search of food. Many stayed and were enslaved by the Egyptians. According to Jewish belief, God chose a man named Moses to plead with the Pharaoh, or the Egyptian king, to free the Jewish people. When the Pharaoh refused to listen to Moses, Jews believed God sent a series of plagues to convince the Pharaoh to let the Israelites go. The 10th plague was the most terrible and is remembered by Jewish people each year at Passover. They believe that on the night before God allowed them to escape slavery, he sent an angel of death to kill the firstborn sons of anyone who did not put lamb's blood over the doorway to their home. That night, all of the firstborn sons of the Egyptians died, but the Israelite boys were saved. Finally, the Pharaoh was convinced to let the Israelites go. As the Israelites left Egypt, the Pharaoh sent his army to capture them. When they reached the Red Sea, according to Jewish belief, the water miraculously parted, making way for them to escape. As soon as the army began to cross, the water closed in, drowning the soldiers. After their escape, God renewed the covenant with the Israelites and gave them the law. In Judaism, this forms part of their holy text, the Torah. The Torah is the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible, and it contains hundreds of Jewish laws. However, all of these laws come from what is known as the 10 Commandments. These laws told the Israelites what God considered right and wrong. The 10 Commandments that Jewish people follow are these: worship no God but me. Do not make for yourselves any images to worship. Do not use my name for evil purposes. Observe the Sabbath, which is their holy day. Respect your father and mother. Do not kill. Do not commit adultery. Do not steal. Do not falsely accuse someone. And do not be envious of other people's possessions. I hope that clears up at least those first couple of slides. If you have any other questions, please let me know. We will talk to you soon.